oh, I'm not cutting my frame. And I could totally understand that, right? And I could try to set your mind at ease by saying we have a patented rake neck system that has 3 U.S. patents on it, and it works great, and it makes your frame 3 times as strong after it's installed, and it doesn't take an expert mechanic to install it. All it needs to be is a good welder. You know, you don't really need to know anything about motorcycles to install our kit because you can't be installed wrong. It only goes in one way, and all you need to know is how to weld it up right. And if you weld it up good, you'll never have a problem with it, right? So it's although it seems dramatic, there's a reason we do it, and I'll tell you why we do it. Because a stock Harley Davidson and all the engineering that Harley Davidson puts into their motorcycles, when the motorcycle leaves their factory, it has 6.5 inches of positive trail. And when I say that, it's a measurement, it's a calculus measurement, and it talks about the relationship between the neck of the frame, the angle of the neck, and the angle of the fork in relationship to the axle, and the height of the wheel. And what it creates is it creates a balance between the front and the rear wheel that allow the bike to handle properly. A heavy bike like this is a difficult bike to handle, right? And Harley Davidson, through their rake and trail numbers and through their engineering and their reverse triple trees, have taken that 950-pound motorcycle and made it feel to the average rider like it weighs 500 pounds. And there was, no joke, a ton of engineering that accomplished that. So I don't need to second guess that. The bikes handle great. So all I want to do is preserve that trail number. Now, the only way, and I will tell you, the only way to preserve 6.5 inches of trail is to add rake in the neck of your frame, and then you correct the trail number with raked triple trees. That is the only way. I don't care who tells you different, they're wrong. The only way that you are going to put this wheel on this motorcycle and have 6.5 inches of positive trail when the job is done is doing it the way we ask you to do it. You have 7 degrees in the neck, 7 degrees in the tree, with a 20-inch wheel, creates 6.5 inches of positive trail. And there's other people that tell you don't have to do it that way. Oh, you can just bolt it on, it'll handle okay. And then we see guys that use a smaller wheel with a fatter tire, and the reason they do that is because they want to get away from the raking of the frame, and they want to get away from the expense of doing that. Well, one, cosmetically, the bike looks ridiculous. It looks like you're running a bowling ball on the front wheel, and it looks like you ran the bike into a wall. It's got the rake is so short, the fork is so short, there's no proportion. You look at one of these bikes, that trail and the balance of that front wheel to the rest of the bike it's a perfect balance. It looks exactly like it was meant to be that way, and other bikes just don't. And then what you'll see them is they'll install air suspension, right, to slam the bike down so the trees come and sit right on top of the tree when they park it, so you can't tell how deraked the bike is and how it looks like it ran into a wall. They'll cheat so you can never see it, how they actually ride it. Well, air suspension sucks, especially front, and it's not a performance enhancing modification, right? It's a cosmetic cheat, so you can't see how ugly that bike is after you just put all that work into it. Our bikes don't need that, and there's no compromise to the suspension. So what you'll get is, guys, again, they'll put travel limiters in, they'll have you double your preload, so your fork springs are so sacked that they can't travel. Basically, they'll turn the bike into almost a rigid
in the front,
right? Yep. Just so they can say, yeah, I got a big front wheel on my bike and I didn't have to rake my frame. They'll destroy their ride, yeah, just so they don't have to rake their frame. And it's such, how many frames have you raked?
Oh, geez, a lot.
How many have you done using our kit?
A lot.
Yeah, and I mean, even the
Zero
first,
issues.
and you go on our website, there's 2 half-hour tutorials that walk you through step by step, right? Step-by-step videos.
Mikey did.
You can stop it, rewind it, look at it, and do what you're doing, and look at it again, and question it. And if you don't get it, call us. We'll tell you what step are you at? Where are you at? We'll look at it. We'll walk you through it. It's not brain surgery at all. And considering the amount of modifications that people do to these motorcycles, it's one of the minor ones.
It
really is.
What's a testament to the install of the SRT is my fab guy, Kevin, is grossly overqualified.
Yes, he is.
to work in a motorcycle shop, right? He's got 2 masters and a doctorate in metallurgy and welding, and he's a CWI, and he complains about a lot of things. But when I tell him that, hey, tomorrow you're doing an SRT, it's ready, ready for the conversion, he gets excited. Now, this is a guy that has made a lot of money getting paid by companies to do failure analysis, okay, of why things have broken and how they can fix them. And he gets tasked by the government for nuclear facilities and things like that. He loves that SRT. He loves doing it. He loves getting it done because that guy knows. I mean, his excitement is a confirmation that that kit is correct with the rosette welds. The strongest weld out there, the plug welds, and with the gussets. And if it was questionable, even in the slightest, Dr. Kevin would throw the bullshit flag. He'd be like, no, it's just not going to work. It's going to fail, blah, blah, blah. And he gets excited about doing them. And, he knocks them out. And we end up powder coating a lot of the frames because he takes that extra time to do the sanding and smoothing and, instead of mudding them up and stuff. You don't have to. It's not required.
You can metal mold them too. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that to me, it hit me a couple weeks ago. That was kind of a testament to the thought and the craftsmanship that went into installing the kit. And I don't know. I'm with you. I'm all about whatever's going to make the bikes handle better, be more comfortable, run harder. Those kind of things. That's what I'm into. I think that you're excellent at spotting trends. But you're also really, really good at making trends, creating trends, and for what, I believe you had a big hand in the performance bagger, movement, if you will, or the trends we're experiencing now. And I just don't understand why, I just don't understand why people are willing to sacrifice, just they're doing something for a look and not for an improvement on their bike. It's frustrating. I had a guy that come in here the other day, stock Road Glide, 2007 Road Glide, stock triple trees, stock legs, 23-inch wheel. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, I know it handles like crap, but it looks cool.
Oh my God, right.
I'm like,
That's right.
You're making me twitch right now. Like, come on, this is not what we're after.
Well, there's something to be said about, here's something that's very important about trail. And trail, as much as it speaks to the weight and the handling and the signals that the road translates to your handlebars to you, what is even more important about trail is the relationship it creates from the front to the rear wheel. And on a bike like this, what people don't understand, and I have people tell me this all the time, oh yeah, I use the bolt-on kit, I use the double neck rake kit, or I just put it on and limited my fork travel so much that, and their frame is sitting up at an angle like this and their trail's destroyed, and basically the handling and safety of their bike is destroyed. And now I'm going to touch on that safety for a second. And I've had people tell me, oh, I've got that done and it handles fine. I'm like, well, tell you what, I go, let's you and me go out on the road. I'm going to get on my bike and you get on yours. Let's run up to 70 miles an hour and then let's lock the brakes on, right? And let's see what happens, right? And I can tell you that my bike is going to skid, and it's going to skid to a straight stop, just like it should, right? Your bike is going to fishtail uncontrollably right to left till it gets so completely sideways it's going to flip you out in the street and you're going to flip your motorcycle. And that's what's going to happen when your trail's not right. It's not that you can make it go down the road and that it seems to handle okay as long as I don't do some of these certain things. I want to be able to do anything on my motorcycle. Yeah. And what really they don't understand is when they really need their motorcycle to handle, which is in a panic or a bad situation or a dangerous situation, that's when you really need your bike to perform. Yeah. It's not just fun performing. This is when it has to perform. Your life depends on it, and they'll fail. And they don't understand that. And that is the single most important thing about having correct trail on your motorcycle.
In a way, it reminds me of when you see a guy do a trike conversion, but then doesn't put rake trees on the front for the trike to handle. The way it should, because obviously motorcycles are meant to lean, trikes do not lean, so they don't require the same, or it's a different trail measurement. and because when you ride a trike and you got to do that kind of push,
Right, you're pushing, right.
you're pushing, and it blows my mind because I saw this one guy who was a very self-proclaimed hotshot builder, and he had his wife on a Sportster trike with the stock 39 millimeter front end, and I'm watching her fight that thing, and I just want to be like, oh please, just
She
please.
probably gets off and her arms are all pumped up like she's been in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
sure.
So, and that's the thing, you know, I mean, it shouldn't be a battle. It shouldn't be a fight, you know. But like you said, you know, when you need your bike to handle, and it's like anything else with some people. People will compromise things for a budget, or they'll compromise things for this. And Josh reminds me of this all the time. We only do things one way. That's why we use your SRT kit.
Right way.
When we do it, we only do it one way, because 2 years from now, you're not going to remember that you saved $1,000. You know, you're just going to remember that, you know, Jason rode my bike or did my bike and it doesn't handle right, and it's, you know what I mean? You're the way your mind works.
Well, a lot of people will see things too that someone will tell them, oh, you don't need to do that. This is fine. This is enough. And they'll go, oh, because they want to hear that. They want to hear like, oh, really? I don't have to cut my frame. I don't have to do that. I don't have to correct my trail. I can just bolt this on in a weekend and have it. They don't want to take the time and the energy to do these things. They want these instant fixes. And hey, they saw it on the internet. It must be true.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's got to be true if it's on the internet. Well, you know, I mean, we've kind of, I feel like we're established a little bit. I mean, here, because as I said, we're doing 7.
You're SRT headquarters.
We're SRT headquarters for at least South Dakota, I feel like, you know, and people, they come in and they say, well, you do this. I said, well, yeah, we can do that, but why don't we do this? And they're like, oh, what's that? I said, now let's say, just to tell you up front, this is not for looks. It looks cool. It looks super cool. And you're gonna smile every time you get off your bike and turn back and look at it, and you're gonna be like, yeah, that looks so cool. But that's not what this is about. This is about handling. This is a performance-based kit. And people are like, oh, okay. I had a guy, Aaron from North Dakota, came in. He wanted a 26-inch wheel on his Road King. He just wanted something, and I said, well, do you want to ride it really hard? Well, yeah, of course. I said, well, let's talk about an SRT. And as soon as you explain it, you know, with one sitting there, like, okay, I get it. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, it's an easy sell. It's not hard. You know, if you and then, you know, heaven forbid you get them where they ride wrong. Well, then that's it. Then it's over. You know.
Well, we've had people pay us to undo their 26-inch setups and swap them to an SRT kit because, you know, they love the big wheel look. They love their bagger, but they want the thing to handle great. They want to really enjoy their ride and have a great experience.
Well, that's where I think some of these other kits. So, and I don't really know, because quite frankly, I've never done any of them, but I know that there's some guys out there that had a 26 on their bike, and when all of a sudden that wasn't as cool anymore, or it wasn't the en vogue thing, well, what can I do? Well, I'm stuck now because my frame's raked, and that's when somebody came out with the 23 wheel with the V rubber tire or whatever.
Right.
And the reason why is because, well, we can take that raked frame.
Right, the rake is the same.
The rake is the
Right,
same, so
right.
we can take that rake frame and now we can put a fat tire, and all of a sudden your bike's relevant again.
Right.
You know, all of a sudden it's cool again. And that to me just doesn't.
Well, you know, again, it's a different way of doing things, but you're not really getting what you set out. If performance is what you're looking for, and if you're looking to change your ride quality, and you're looking to, enhance the overall experience you have riding your motorcycle, going from a skinny 26 to a fat 26, or a fat 23 with a 180 on it, which is a fat 26, it's not gonna. You're still in substandard tire technology. You're still on a flat tire with a low profile. You're still going to have that rough ride. And then you're picking up a whole new level of inertia with that huge 180 tire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Spinning in front of you, in that diameter. You're picking up a whole different kind.
What do those tires or wheels weigh? Even? I mean,
I don't know. I haven't weighed one. So initially they were all being made from solid plates of aluminum. They were cut from big blocks
Yeah.
of aluminum, like these were in the beginning too. But now there's a blank, I think, out for them. Yeah, and we've done a couple of those. We've done a couple of the big 23-inch kits on customers' bikes, and it's not this. It's not nimble. It's you still got this, this huge inertia of that tire spinning. You're feeling it in your neck and your traps and your arms, and these guys are not, just in my opinion, aren't performance riders. They're not, a guy who wants to shred a canyon, in the most enjoyable way possible, and at great speeds and great handling and really
Have confidence.
Yeah, and with confidence that's not gonna be his choice. Yeah,
No.
yeah, that's not gonna be his choice. He's gonna do some research and find out, because bottom line is just the tires are everything, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And one thing we were talking about weight, it just made me think of Vern, who works for me, 30-year master technician, pulls the first SRT wheel out of the box, and he goes, "This is lighter than a stock wheel."
Right.
I'm like, by a lot, actually. It's super light. And I haven't done a weight comparison, but it doesn't take much to hold a SRT wheel
And realize, right?
and hold a stock cast wheel like off of a Street Glide or whatever, and be like, holy cow!
Right.
There's a significant weight reduction
Right.
there.
Well, but once you mount the tire, because the tire has increased weight compared to a stock tire.
Sure.
It's probably another third of volume or whatever. I think you're fairly similar to the weight of a stock wheel, and changing the weight of your wheel, your unsprung weight versus your sprung weight, that's a different topic. And in racing, there's certain advantages to doing that in the inertia of impact and how quick your tire can recover. Because the idea of when you're doing 150 miles an hour in turns, you want that tire on the ground all the time. You don't ever want it leaving the ground. But you're not worried about ride. You're not worried about smooth. You're not worried about longevity for your tires. After every race, you're going to change it. You can make them, they can be like glue, and they actually wrap, heaters around the tires to keep them like glue. And you just want to get 4 laps. That's all you need to get. And then you throw the tire away, right?
Yeah.
This is different. There's a practical side to this, and you want to be able to tour on it, and you want to be able to see it, have it get some life out of it for seasons. This is probably a 6,000 to 8,000 mile tire, which is great, but still very sticky. Something interesting about shingle, almost all stunt riders in our fine country use shingle tires.
Really?
Underneath them. Yeah, because they know that their tires won't fade when they're spinning that rear wheel and they're standing up on their pegs and they've got a handful of front brake, keeping that bike from launching forward because they want to, drift around and do all the stunts they're doing or whatever.
I feel like